Good morning. Today we woke up at the shelter, although we were in tents and I was in my hammock. We had a spot right next to the water, which was really nice. We got to see loons. We kept a very careful eye out for moose, but didn't see any of those. And at one point we saw about 6 baby loons kind of traveling across the lake all together. So that was really cool. It was a really nice spot. Unfortunately buggy this morning though. When we were trying to pack up, there were mosquitoes, but the big problem for me was the little no-see-ums, the tiny little bugs. They just ate up my legs this morning. But first things this morning, I mean, less than 0.2 from the shelter was our first water ford of the day. So we have been liberated from dry feet. And yeah, we've got kind of an interesting day. We are headed first thing this morning over to the Kennebec River, which is about less than 4 miles into our day. There is a ferry that will take us across the Kennebec, a ferry in the shape of a canoe. And then we will drop into town, do a little resupply, get a little charge on our devices, and then carry on afterwards. But I'm really excited to cross the Kennebec. It's kind of a big deal. It is the canoe that takes you across is an official AT canoe. It has a blaze on the bottom and everything. So I'm pretty excited about it. We did wake up a little bit earlier because there was a good number of people at the shelter last night, and the canoe can only take 2 people across. And so we wanted to be one of the first ones in line so that we could get to town a little earlier, and also just not have to sit there in line for hours. So, yep, headed on to the Kennebec and then dropping into Karatank, Maine. First things first, this morning we forded that, of which there is a pretty big waterfall downstream, so happy it wasn't flowing too fast.
It's gonna be fine.
Oh, not even using the handrails. Oh God. No.
Okay, that's why. I was like...
This morning we followed that stream basically all day. That's the one that we crossed and saw waterfalls on. And it dumps out here into the Kennebec, which is absolutely beautiful this morning. The ferry actually does not start until 9, and it's a little after 7:30, so we have plenty of time. So I've got Cycle on deck to make me a cup of coffee as long as I collect the water, so deal.
Where are you guys from?
We're at This is the dog of the guy who does the canoe, Maggie, and I'm not sure if we're sharing or playing because we've been both holding the stick for a while. We can walk together and then we can fight.
All 3?
Yeah, and you can pick what's your favorite one. And then once you have picked your favorite one,
Oh, this is lame.
you will put your finger on it. And just leave it there.
You can pick one.
Yeah.
What's your
What do I do?
Maine is not joking with the mud, y'all. Vermont was just a warm-up, honestly.
She took one. I knew she took one of me, and it was funny. Yeah, I'm gonna wash off my legs. That was my little
Good morning from Pleasant Pond Mountain. Today we woke up at the shelter. I slept okay last night. I kind of tossed and turned. I don't know why. I slept fine, but not my best. And then first thing today, we climbed up this mountain, which was cool. But the really exciting thing today, and you're not going to be able to see it because I can barely see it with my binocular. In this back range here, it's in this section, there's a gap. And behind that, you can actually see Katahdin. And it is so faint. It kind of looks like a cloud, but there's very much a mountain range that's like kind of connecting behind. We had to use the binocular, like I said, but that's our first tiny glimpse of Katahdin, and that is so exciting that we can actually kind of see the endpoint. But there's a whole lot of flatlands here, and then that one mountain range, and then I'm assuming more flatlands behind because we don't have many more mountains between us and Mama Kay. So yeah, it's a really good start to the day. Mid river crossing.
That's when you know you feel safe.
Not too bad. And water crossing number 2. Good morning. Nothing like waking up first thing in the morning and crossing waist deep through a cold river. Thank you, Maine. Today we're doing pretty good so far. We're just now getting to some mud for the first time this morning, which was inevitable. But we had a good little camp time last night. We've been hanging out recently with our friend Learning Curve, and he came and hung out with us at camp last night, and yeah, it was just a grand old time. Lots of laughs, feeling a little nostalgic already the closer we get to the end every time. Occasionally I'll pop my head out of the situation and just appreciate it for what it is. Lots of friends laughing together at camp. I love that. Yeah, today is a pretty simple day. We had that water crossing, and I think we've got at least one more today. But ultimately we are going to a road crossing where we will get picked up and go to Shaw's Hostel. It will be our last hostel of the AT, which is so bittersweet, but we're pretty excited. We hear lots of good things, and Learning Curve will be there as well. So, having a grand old time, hiking together as a group this morning, and trying to stay warm with these cold waters. Let's do it. River crossing number 2 today. Not too bad. Super peaceful, actually.
I can sit here and let my mind wander and do it.
I would still love for you to try because like
I feel like Delta 8 and calm me down.
well yeah, I mean like and that's the thing, it's like when so many different strands do different things.
Definitely.
Like I feel like his strand that he's smoking is indica because it's just like it basically just puts like a moat on the situation.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting literally smacked in the face over and over.
But I
and
think
my food technically merged over. If we had taken it from,
I'm Amelia Earhart.
Amelia Earhart.
Yeah.
They finally found you.
Yes, I'm providing the AT.
Outstanding hospitality.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Holy.
Okay,
There are no places to obtain supplies or get help until A-Ball Bridge in 100 miles. Its difficulty should not be underestimated. Good hiking. Good morning. Clearly we are here back on trail. This morning I had to wait until, actually I didn't even have to quite wait until the post office opened. The woman told me to come back at 8:30 in the morning, which is 45 minutes before they open, to check on my box, and it was there, which was lovely. There was a moment of fear where I thought it wasn't going to arrive, but we are all good. Our whole group set up a food drop with Shaw's. So we are carrying 4 days of food, and we will get 3 more somewhere in the wilderness. But Shaw's was a really great place. We had a good 0 yesterday, got a lot of important things done, including final preparations and things like that for how we are getting home and seeing families and things like that. So, but we are here with the sign, the ominous sign that says that we should have 10 days of food, which we don't, and that the difficulty should not be underestimated, followed by happy hiking. So, feels good. I have no worries. I think it's going to be lovely, with the exception of the rain that's hitting today. I think actually the weather looks pretty good, so it's going to be great. Water crossing number 3 of the day. Only to my knees now, but we went all the way up to the hips. Awesome. It was nice having dry shoes while it lasted. Good morning. Oh, kind of cool to be waking up in the 100-mile wilderness. Also pretty bittersweet. I'm having a little bit of a hard time not getting sentimental over everything that happens. Which is kind of just my nature, but you know, for example, yesterday it absolutely poured rain on us, and for a while I was using my umbrella, but then we had some water crossings and really deep mud pits that I needed both hands with my trekking poles to get through, so the umbrella went away, and I didn't have my rain jacket on, so I didn't add it, I didn't stop to put it on, and so I just got absolutely soaked. And that was overall okay. I made that choice, and I actually, at the point that I got soaked through, kind of got the giggles about it, because at that point it's just, you just don't care. You're as wet as you're gonna get at that point. And so that was really fun. And then we got to the shelter, and there was just enough space for Sparky and I, who'd been hiking together, to squeeze in with our family and these 2 other folks who are flip-floppers essentially this year. And so that was really great, but I just had a moment sitting in the shelter while it was still pouring, looking out and thinking about the weather for the rest of the week here, and thinking that, wow, that might be the last time that I got to like hike and dance through the rain like that. And I got sentimental about that. So just as an example, I've just been having a time with the realization that this is our last week. Or we're headed toward our last week essentially, and yeah, everything is coming to a close, and I'm very brutally aware of that. But yeah, it was a good night otherwise. I mean, even with that, unfortunately there was some really huge spiders in the shelter that Moose had a time with. Apparently one was on his pack, and then it was on him for a moment, and there was a whole panic thing that happened this morning as I was waking up, so I didn't totally know what was going on. But yeah, today we are headed, I think it's 15 miles to another shelter. Although if there's good options, I think I'm gonna hammock, just because I want to soak up my hammock while we're still out here. But you might notice I'm in different clothes because yesterday I got soaked. My clothes did not dry overnight, and so I'm just wearing my second outfit because technically it's my town outfit, but I'm wearing it because my other clothes are soaked and I didn't feel like bothering with it. We're in the home stretch here, and I won't actually need these clothes as town clothes between here and the end, so I don't mind doing a little bit of a hike in them. But yep, we've got, I think, one major stream crossing coming up very soon, and then we'll see what the rest is like. It did rain yesterday, but it also stopped raining and didn't rain all night, so everything should have had at least a few hours to go down. So I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, carrying on, enjoying the 100-mile wilderness. It definitely feels like a wilderness, although maybe that's just my mentality about it, knowing how remote it is. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But I've got a little bit of a boardwalk section here. There it is to walk. And these boards are slick because they are wet from yesterday's rain. So yeah, I'm going to go tiptoe across these. Next to Long Pond Stream, and we hit the NOBO's first 100-mile mark, which means we have 100 miles to Katahdin. 2100, our last 100-mile mark, and definitely the biggest one that has been made yet. Right here next to the Barren Slide, which is closed because of breeding peregrine falcons, which is really cool, but pretty exciting. Final 100-mile mark. Where's the rest of the fire tower? Fourth mountain bog, and we hear that there are pitcher plants, so let's go hunting.
Yeah,
We found them. Look at these guys. Pitcher plants. You can see they're full of liquid. That's so cool. Carnivorous plants. Look at these huge ones. That's huge. This is so cool. And
There's one behind you.
look at all these. So much moss.
Now I'm like on a lookout. Like every time we get to a bog, I'm gonna like be looking for pitcher plants.
I know. So pretty. So creepy looking down below, like seeing the little trees peek up there. I don't need to purchase like quilts, right? There's no way the camera's gonna show this, but we're looking out at this beautiful whiteout, which I say non-ironically. Oh gosh, and it just looks flat, doesn't it? But that is just straight down all the way. It doesn't even look like it. That's maddening. So that's fun. Good morning. Please look at how beautiful this is. There's just moss everywhere. The video cannot get it, but there's like 4 different types of green, and then this like white pillowy stuff. Oh gosh. Maine is quickly becoming one of my favorite states on the AT. Yeah, so today is the last day of this week. We woke up at a shelter, Chairback Mountain Shelter, or lean-to, and it kind of drizzled on and off all night last night, which was actually kind of nice to listen to. Stayed perfectly dry in my hammock. I absolutely loved that. I really enjoy listening to the rain on my tarp in my hammock as I go to sleep. It's just so cozy. But yeah, this morning we are currently just trekking through a lot of forest like this. And yeah, we're ultimately headed down the mountain first thing this morning. We'll go down to actually a trailhead, which I think is interesting to have in the 100-mile wilderness. But Far Out has a picture of the trailhead and it has like a dozen cars in it, which is kind of ironic to me. But we'll see how popular of a trailhead it really is. And then we have one ford today, one river ford immediately after. I'm currently avoiding a mud pit. Okay. We'll have one river ford. Shoes and socks have been wet for 2 days now. Today will be day 3. Hopefully sometime this afternoon the sun is supposed to come out and we can dry out our feet and shoes and rain gear, tarps, things like that. So fingers crossed, but ultimately today we are headed up and over, what is it called? Whitecap? I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of it. It's the last mountain. I think it's like 3,900 feet in elevation, so not quite a 4,000 foot, but basically there. And we'll go up and over that to a lean-to on the other side for tonight. It'll be a 17-mile day, but the big exciting thing for today is that from the top of, I think it's Whitecap, is that is supposed to be our first up close and personal view of Katahdin, Mama K. So that will be so exciting. We are also keeping an eye out because we are close enough now to kind of watch the weather for potential summit days. And the day that we were thinking about currently says rain, but it also said sunshine 2 days ago, and we are still a minute away from it. So I'm thinking weather may change, but we will just have to see what happens. We may have to make adjustments, and that is okay. But yep, headed on, trekking through some beautiful evergreen forests with lots of moss and lots of mushrooms and tiny little frogs, and watching for moose. I'd really like to see one sometime here. But what will be will be. Currently on Whitecap Mountain, which is 3,900 feet, and if you can see the clouds there, they are hiding Mama K, Mount Katahdin. So we've got just this flat stretch basically between here and there. Pretty cool.